Update. My parents disowned me for marrying a poor carpenter against their will, while my sister married a millionaire. But years later, we ran into each other, and when they saw my husband, their faces turned pale. Part 2. For the first time, I was choosing. It was a huge step, one that would eventually lead to some of the hardest decisions of my life. When the time came to introduce Glenn to my parents, I was filled with anxiety. My heart raced as I led him into the house, desperately hoping they could see how happy he made me. But deep down, I feared their reaction. Dad was in his study, surrounded by piles of books and papers, barely glancing up as we entered, his focus entirely on his work. Mom was in the kitchen, preparing dinner with precise movements, her expression distant and lost in thought. "Mia, there you are," Mom said as we walked in, her eyes shifting to Glenn, narrowing slightly. "And who's this?" I took a deep breath. "Mom, Dad, this is Glenn. He's a carpenter, and he's very important to me." Dad finally looked up from his papers, his gaze critical. Glenn, ever charismatic, smiled warmly. "It's nice to meet you, Mr. and Mrs. Bennett," he said, his voice steady and genuine.